Welcome to episode 19 of Inches and Cubes, Back to Basics list building in 8th edition. As always, it's me, Point and Click Nick.
It's me, Mr. Fist Paul Fowler.
And it's not you, Adam Truax, the truest X.
It's not you, it's me.
We built this listy on rock and roll. I said I was going to say it.
I know you said you were going to say that. So I'm going to start off right now by...
I can't wait
That was Adam.
any longer.
All right, what do you got?
So, I got something from Muskoka Brewery. And it's a nice little brewery out there in
Where is it?
Muskoka.
Oh, okay. Answer my question.
Yeah.
This is, and you know what? I grabbed this one and one other one. We'll talk about it later when it goes pop. But they're getting creative out there. Normally they just stick with a little cream ale, a little detour, and a little dark, and a little whatever. But they're getting creative. This is Kirby's Kolsch. We made this easy drinking Kolsch in honor of our late friend Kirk Evans. He loved life, and wherever he was, the laughs were there too. Kirby's Kolsch is a crisp session beer with a hint of peach. Best enjoyed with friends.
Hey!
Cheers to Kirby.
Well, cheers to Kirby, and until you can find some friends, we'll do.
That's right.
So I'm just going to start off by plugging our annual general meeting for Hogtown 40K on September 30th. I hope it's at a bar.
Probably going to be at a bar.
It's probably going to be at a bar. It's going to be around 3 or 4 o'clock, and then we're just going to drink until we have to go home because we can't drink anymore. But we're going to get the important stuff out of the way first, so check out our Facebook page and show up. Even if you don't want to join the club and you just want to sit back and watch us pretend like we're organized and know what we're doing. And I'm invoking Robert's Rules.
What's Robert's Rules?
You've never heard of Robert's Rules before?
No, I
So
haven't.
Robert's Rules is how Parliament operates, right? Like, Mr. Speaker, I object. I second that motion.
Oh, okay.
Motion to, like, present a motion. Motion denied. Motion to, like, clear things. No, we're not doing Robert's Rules. It's insane.
Yeah,
There's,
no.
like, a book, like, this thick on how it's properly done.
His fingers are about 1.5 inches apart.
Yeah, they're about the
Yep.
width of an egg apart.
The length of an egg.
True. The height of an egg.
Depends on how it is.
It depends. I've never seen an egg come out of a chicken. I assume it comes out the way that it looks like it would come out.
Oh, I would hope so. Poor chickens. Poor cloacas.
Ugh.
Okay, so, starting off with the hobby desk.
It's called the hobby desk now. Nick, what you been at?
Not much. Yeah, it's been a busy couple weeks.
Finish that Doom Prince?
No, not yet.
Eh?
Put some more work into him. He still needs a bit more highlights, touch-ups, details. Threw some cream color down on the Space Marine helmet that's covering that he's like carrying on his belt, and then I threw some yellow on top of it.
Oh, what are you trying to say?
He's also got a
Nicholas?
Necron head on his chain around his belt too. So that's
So you're just getting at both of my armies.
and then but he's also got a lot of human skulls on spikes that's poking out of his army.
Okay.
Arm. Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool.
That's what I did. Paul, what'd you do?
I finished up the Black Coach, a model that has been on my wish list to paint for a while. I did it for a client. Ton of fun to paint this thing.
Did you paint it black?
I painted it gray.
Did you see a red door?
I wanted it black. Adam doesn't get this. It's like we're just speaking in like Twin Peaks references for Adam right now. But no,
I don't get that reference. That's okay.
yeah, there's like fewer and fewer people getting these jokes, and more turning off the podcast right now. But no, it was super fun to like pick at the cool details, like the vampire in the back, or the driver was a lot of fun. I just went with all blue for his robes, just because the colors that we were throwing into the army, like the accent colors were blue and red, so it wasn't so much a struggle to get those on the model, but you had to be really conscious to make this model fit with the rest of the army. I think I achieved it. I hope I did.
I'd love to see a picture of you've shipped it off already?
No.
I'd love to just see a photo of the whole army on a table.
Is that a
It'll
thing?
come.
Yeah. Oh.
Awesome. Yeah, because you guys have been talking about it forever, and I'm just curious to see.
Yeah. Adam did a really cool conversion with it, so it could be modded out to have either 4 horses or 2 horses. So an apocalypse or a half an apocalypse. And
Those things don't happen in halves. What's the first? So we could like switch between like Sigmar and Ninth Age.
No, there's rules in Ninth Age that you can have a double horsed like coach thingy, not a black coach because they don't want to infringe on GW. But yeah, the base size is supposed to be 150 millimeters, but with the GW model as a stand-in for it, it's just too long.
Cool.
And so he was like, I play in tournaments and I want it to be exactly. And so we had to like, it was already together and we had to come up with a solution to like make it the exact base size if we wanted to.
yeah.
So magnetize it, cut the base, pull 2 of the horses off, and
Also,
that's how it goes.
using you used guitar strings for the pins, which was really smart because they're way more flexible, and like on something like that, it gives it a lot of travel. So we pinned the bases, the 2 bases that would join to add the extra 2 horses. Yeah, just using guitar string like as the pin just gave it a little bit of wiggle, but still gave it strength. So I was like, you know.
Oh yeah, he showed me pictures of it. Yeah,
Oh.
it looks, I want the whole army.
oh, I see. I see.
Oh, he wants the whole.
I don't have the whole army.
That's
so-
okay. Is his real last name Undead?
No.
Adam has an album saved in his phone as Chris Undead, and I was like, oh god,
Yeah, this is Dr.
it's
Ferratu.
It's Norwegian. Coach Ferratu.
Coach Ferratu. Yeah, so that was really fun. The base, I think, really came together with those little tufts of grass from GW that I was talking about. I like the way they work. I don't think I'm going to use them on any project that I have of my own, just because I did Rebel bases and Mars bases. But I think if I do anything coming up, or maybe I can find a place for them on the Custodes bases.
Yeah.
So
Have you seen the Custodes Terminators?
I have.
They're huge.
They are monsters.
They're so cool.
Like in real life, you seen them? Or just pictures?
I've seen pictures of them next to like new Games Workshop Terminators,
Dude.
and they're like a full quarter to maybe a third of an, maybe a half. I'm gonna
Like a head.
yeah, a full half-inch taller.
Wow.
And they're like, "Burp."
Those big dudes.
That was a full egg with my fingers there.
full. We went full egg. Yeah, and I just got notification that a Rifleman Dread parts has arrived for me, so that's going to be next on my painting block. Just get two twin linked autocannon Cassiferum Dreadnought painted up for the Imperial Fists.
Nice.
Dirty.
Yeah, I'm digging that. I'll stop clicking my pen now. Adam, what you been working on, my dude?
Yeah, so personal stuff. Just been working on some Infinity. Because trying to plug into that game. And for anybody who listens to the podcast who likes Infinity and is here because you also like 40K, hopefully we're going to be filming some games for that soon. So which is why I'm going crazy and painting it. So yeah, been doing the Imperial Sectorial something or other for Yu Qing, which doesn't make any sense to you guys.
Nope.
They're like the Japan and China smushed together, the super faction.
Never gonna happen.
Yeah,
Never
but
gonna
this
happen.
is the future where where there's also a faction called Haqqislam, and it's like Islam but very humanist, and they've totally like reformed everything. And anyway, it's interesting. It's like alternative universe, right? But still based on. So yeah, been doing that and painted up a little tiny robot that walks around on 4 legs with some guns on it.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
I like robots.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Robots.
then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than painting Zinch commissions and other things.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Nick, you need to get this Demon Prince done.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
it's time.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying it on the.
Oh.
Are you trying to ply me with booze, sir?
Nope, but I need to get the Demon Prince done. This is going to go on for a while, guys. So this is target practice. This is Ides of September from Henderson's. It's a Belgian blonde ale with tart Niagara cherries. I'm going to share this with you boys. But I've got like 3 paragraphs of text on the side of it to read. Lauren Harris, founding member of the Group of 7, is best known for the northern scenes in his paintings. But he lived much of his life in downtown Toronto attended Central Technical High School, and in 1917 served as a gunnery lieutenant in the Canadian Officers Training Corps headquarters at U of T's Hart House during its construction. While stationed there, he painted a 30-foot by 16-foot 3D set of a ruined Belgian village on what would soon become the Hart Theatre stage. Marionettes of enemy soldiers were employed on the set for target practice, so that soldiers in training standing behind sandbags at the back of the auditorium could shoot at them.
What?
And Harris's painting to pieces. In 2016, Harris's Mountain Form sold for over $11 million. Chances are, there should be a comma there, no one's in too much of a hurry to shoot that painting to pieces these days. To commemorate great talent used for a good cause, we brewed this Belgian blonde ale with tart Niagara cherries. It's a delicious merger of Canadian and Belgian, with notes of cracker, spice, banana, and citrus, with a bold cherry flavor that's sure to win you over. So this was my 10 out of 10 beer that I rated at Beer Fest last weekend, when I drank, I think I got to 30 different types of beer.
Explains the bags under your eyes.
Yeah, so I'm still kind of recovering from that. But it was a great night. Say What? Great bar downtown.
Oh, I love Say What.
Yeah. General's Armchair. So we've had 2 weeks, so I've actually got 4 games to talk about.
I'm not getting any cracker off of this.
No. The cherry kind of overpowers everything, but I really do like sour cherries. So after we recorded our last session, Adam drove me over to the Sword and Board.
Oh, for that fateful day.
Sword and Board at
I know
there's
this. Blob at Street and
Margarita?
Yeah.
No, guys, come on. You studied.
Margarita in college.
Rock Street.
Warm.
Clock Street.
Blood. No, wait. Brock and Blood. Brock and Blood.
Brock and Blood? Okay.
Yep.
Behind the Pizza Nova.
Behind the north of Brooklyn.
You know where it's at. So this was an insane day. I'd already scheduled 2 games, and my first opponent, Phil, was waiting for me when we got there. Adam and I roll in. It was pretty quiet upstairs. There were over 60 Magic players just playing in the basement, and Phil was losing his mind. He was like, "Stay away from my stuff! Back off! These are my tables!" So, somebody kicked some of his models when they were set up. I told a couple Magic players, I'm like, "Hey man, if you're just going to stand around and watch, go upstairs, because we're trying to play games here." So, yeah, we had a fun game. So, Phil brought a very interesting list out of the new Chaos Codex. I think he brought like 50 or 60 cultists. He ran 2 battalions. So he had a ton of cultists. He had a Dark Apostle with the relic that extended with the Warlord trait that extended his command bubble to 9 inches instead of 6, so everybody could use his leadership. So all of the cultists were, pretty good.
That's really good.
He took a Carbitus, the giant Dreadclaw.
Okay.
Stuffed it full of 10 possessed, 5 chosen with plasma, and then can hold 20 guys. And then a Exalted Champion, Sorcerer, and a Lord and Terminator armor.
Oh my god.
So this thing came down, and I think I had a great cultist screen, so it kept him off. He charged my cultists, and then the Noise Marines were just able to wipe out the possessed. Then he summoned Bellicor.
What?
And summoning, I really like the way it works now, because I think we talked about it in a very, very early episode. You set aside the points, and you don't have to say what you're going to summon. Mm-hmm. Right? You can just be like, I have 500 points aside, I'm going to summon... His other option was, I could summon 30 Bloodletters, and I'm like, oh no. So we decided to summon Bellicor. Bellicor did some work, then I killed him with Noise Marines. Lots of fun. Yeah. Well, he charges in, he kills my Warlord, and I'm just like, okay, +1 to wound, and just brat. He's only got a 4-up save, toughness 6, toughness 5. Doesn't matter, you're wounding him on 5s, right? So you're just pushing the wound, so he doesn't have power armor. So took him out, and then eventually just wore him down until I eventually tabled him in like the 5th or 6th turn.
Oof.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're running 60 cultists, and I got a lot of anti-infantry, which we'll get to later in list building, and just blew through them. I think we were playing. Yeah, we were playing Maelstrom. Actually, all of my games were Maelstrom except for the last one, and the objectives were kind of on my side as well, a little bit. But I think towards the end of the game, we were either like really close in objectives, and I was just able to kill the last couple cultists.
Mm-hmm.
So the next game, I played a person I've never played before in the league. Lucas Brake brought his Space Wolves against me. He brought Bjorn the Fell-Handed, the Dreadnought. He brought a Storm Wolf full of Wolfen, bikes with Storm Shields, Blood Claws, a dude who calls the storms.
Najal?
No. Rune Priest.
Ah.
And a couple other things. Ascan Razorbacks.
Ah.
Those things are brutal.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put one together.
Yeah.
What's an ass can Razorback?
Assault Cannon.
Oh.
It's just that this guy's a butt fiend.
Not going to deny it. So, Space Wolf bikes, every biker can take a Storm Shield.
Yep.
And they actually FAQ'd it. So he was telling me, he's like, the index came out without the FAQ, and to start with, a Space Wolf biker could take a Storm Shield, the bike, which comes with a Twin Link Bolter, and a Storm Bolter.
Just 4 bolters on a guy.
Yeah, so that's 8 shots.
Brap.
At 12 inches.
At 12 inches, but they FAQ'd it.
Per dude.
Per dude. So they FAQ'd it. So now it's only, they can't do that.
Can you imagine that? 5 dudes getting 40 shots.
I can't imagine that. It would be hilarious.
I wish you could take Terminators that dual wielded Storm Bolters.
Why not?
You can't. It'd be awesome. But yeah, so it was a good game. Wolfen are terrifying. I was able to kill Bjorn first turn. I snuck the Fire Raptor in behind him and blew him up because he's a character. So I just put him an inch away and blew him up. He had a Storm Wolf, the gunship, full of Wolfen, so I was able to blow that up with my Havocs. Then my Demon Prince charged the Wolfen that disembarked, killed 2 of them, and just got murdered. Because when they die, they attack back. So he murdered me. Then his Wolfen charged my Sorcerer, and he also did another charge, and he opted to do the other charge first, because he was like, that Sorcerer is not going to kill the Wolfen. They have, 3 wounds each, and they're really tough. Force weapons are pretty awesome when you roll well. So he activated another units. Emperor's Children units always strike first. The Sorcerer went first. Hit with all 3 of his attacks. He was only against 3 Wolfen. Wounded with all 3 of his attacks. He failed all of his saves and just went 3 damage, 3 damage, 3 damage. And was just
no.
I'm victorious! And just stood there and then looked at Arjak and charged at him. Arjak murdered him.
Good.
I was still I want this.
Let's see how far I can push this luck.
Yeah.
Turns out that was it. You got greedy.
But Death Hex came off because I think that's why his Wolfen. Yeah, he had Storm Shield Wolfen, and I was like, Death Hex, Power Sword, Force Sword. That was fun. Good game. Came down to objectives at the end. I was able to pull it off. And then last episode, I put my foot in my mouth when I said I was going to beat Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
do you have to apologize to Connor right now?
I apologize to him already, but I'll apologize again. I apologize, Connor. Next time he won't steal the initiative on me. Because that's what happened. We set up, I had a couple less drops than him. I was all ready to go. And he's like, I'm going to re-roll this. If re-roll C's with a command point. If I don't roll a 6, he rolls a 6. And I'm like, oh no. And then he just gutted half my army, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, but that was your plan to do to him, though.
I wouldn't have destroyed. He got really lucky on the first turn.
Yeah, but you can't say he gutted half my army when your plan is to do as much damage on first turn as you can.
Yes, but he killed half my army first turn. I wasn't I can't do that. He was rolling ridiculous for las cannon damage and these shots coming from his predator.
He is a witch.
Yeah, his dice rolls were just on point. And chapter masters are super good. We'll talk about that in our main topic. But man, the Forge World Space Marine characters they're the best units in that book.
Mm-hmm. Oh, without a doubt.
Good.
Which ones did he take?
He took Valen Call, which is the Sons of Medusa chapter master, so everybody within 6 inches rerolls all failed hits.
Yeah. Damn.
It hurts.
Yeah, and the way that he's building that list and the way that he's doing it is so cool and fluffy. Like it's
Yep.
it's this like multi army task force. So like I think that's where you would actually even see a chapter master coming like, I'm in charge of everything here, and you're all coming with me.
Yeah, he's got like the 3 dreadnoughts coming up the field. He's got the 3 predators, and he's got some Imperial Guardsmen. Which is one thing that I still am a little miffed about is just the shared keywords for Imperium really offsets a lot of their weaknesses because like, oh, we're Space Marines, we're super elite. Also, blob of 30 conscripts and a commissar, and you're like,
Okay.
I gotta deal with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when Chaos has cultists and Space Marines, like
Cultists are nowhere near as good as conscripts. Like you kill 9 cultists,
I'm just
they're
saying.
running.
I'm just saying, you take that away, like at least you have that option to fill out a battalion really cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, Space Marines don't have that.
No.
Unless you...
Yeah, he wasn't running that. And then my last game, I played Matt Hurd, who should be a special guest in our next podcast. Spoiler alert. And he wanted to bring Titanic units. Paul's giving me an evil eye here. So he brought a knight, and I busted out the falchion.
Oh, man. No, that's not the same. That's like... That's playing rock, paper, scissors, but you've got the Rock of Gibraltar.
So he brought a knight, 7 dreadnoughts. I think 4 of them were ironclads. 2 tactical squads, and then 2 Thunderfire cannons and a captain. And I only had like 4 drops because it was like 2 squads of Noise Marines, a Lord, the Sorcerer, some cultists, and the Falchion. That's it. That was my 2,000 point list. And first turn, the Falchion did
Killed the
something
knight.
like 42 damage to the knight. And just killed it first turn.
Yeah, just double its hit points. You know,
Oh,
whatever.
yeah. Then it proceeded to murder at least 2 dreadnoughts every single turn. And yeah, that game lasted about 45 minutes. But we played the open war. Didn't really get to experience it.
Nick, I'm sorry, but like your report card is going to come back with doesn't play well with others if you keep bringing the Falchion.
I don't care. Have you seen some of the lists at like the no retreat battle reports? Like people are bringing like 2 Baneblade variants.
Yeah, because they're psychos.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring the friggin' Falchion once I get it fully painted up.
All right, you've made a good point.
Once I get it fully painted up. Haven't we just heard about a whole bunch of games with you taking it?
Yeah,
I've played it in 2 games in this edition.
You know what? Maybe I'm gonna just go ahead and get like a Fellblade or something.
This could inform our main topic later. But there should be different ways of building armies, whether your units are painted or not painted.
Yeah,
Like different rules. Like
Yeah.
you can build your army this way if it's painted.
Yeah. Is that all of your games?
that is all of my games. I'm still loving the Chaos Codex. Got some other lists I do want to try out, but I think I've hit the peak point for what's the word that you always used? Optimize. Optimization for the units that I currently have in my possession.
Nice. How about you, Adam? You got any 40k games played? I know you've been working hard on Infinity, but
Yeah. No 40k, just been grinding out Infinity.
all right.
Yeah.
Content for
It's it could be fun actually to do a podcast about like learning new games.
I could learn a new game.
We should do something like that when Necromunda comes out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we are a 40k podcast. Also, I don't think I introduced the podcast when we started. So, this is an Inches and Cubes, the 40k podcast.
I mean,
Yeah, we did that, and then these.
No, I said welcome to episode.
yeah. Well, it's Inches and Cubes. If they got this far, they know.
They know.
Because we didn't do an intro, right? We didn't do grab your inches and grab your
your
cubes
cubes.
and come with us.
Yeah, that's right.
It's okay. It's an oversight.
Yeah, everyone's got their Inches and Cubes in their hands. I'm sure. I mean, I know I do.
In your hand.
They're supposed to be round.
Oh.
Anyways, I won't describe it in detail, but I'll talk about it in ways that can apply to 40k. Deployment is a big deal, and so my big downfall in one. So I'm in a league right now, and my 2 first games I did really well, even though I have no idea how to play. And so I played 2 games since the last podcast, and I got tabled basically. And the first one is because I'm still learning the nuances to deployment. Like worried about certain things happening, so I account for it. but I like way overcompensate. So I'm like worried about drop troops coming in, and this applies to 40k, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm turning things around face backwards, and then there's like no drop troops.
Okay.
And then you're like, because you have a resource you have to spend to move your guys around, and but you want to move important pieces, not silly pieces that you use to cover your butt.
Yeah.
Anyway, so just was being overly cautious, and that cost me. And then the second game was interesting, just having like super elite units pop up in the middle of the table and annihilate a bunch of stuff, and I managed to deal with it. And then imagine it's like having an apothecary standing by, and the apothecary just raises everybody back to life.
That's not what an apothecary does, but okay.
Yeah.
That's what a necromancer does.
That's
Yes.
right. It was like playing Necrons, and it was poop.
Don't recommend it.
Yeah.
So Paul was looking thirsty?
So he's going to drink a Belgian Moon. It's not a microbrew. It's owned by Molson. It's brewed out in Vancouver.
It's also not from Belgium.
No, it's not. But, fun fact about this, in the States, it's called Blue Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it says artfully crafted, brewed with white wheat and oats in this Belgian-style ale. Features a crisp finish and perfect combination of orange peel and coriander. It is a lovely beer.
It really is. I like it. That's a great summer beer. And can I just say, it's going to be 30 degrees this weekend.
I know.
And we're like at the end of September.
Dude, I'm going to be at a cottage. And
I'm so jealous.
It has, oh man, I should, like, on the break, I'm going to show you the Airbnb listing. It's nuts. We won it in an auction. It's $800 a night. Like
How many people, though?
It sleeps like 20 people.
Well, then that's not a lot of money.
Well, we wanted it in like a silent auction, so we are
Okay.
not. We don't have the $800 money.
We're not going to pay it.
No, we're gonna poop in all the flush tanks of the toilets. But I will talk about the game that I played.
I want to hear more about the cottage, but okay.
Well, we'll do that on the break. We're not Inches and Cubes, the Muskoka area cottage podcast.
Oh,
I mean, I'm drinking Muskoka beer.
Yeah. You know what weirds me out? The people call them Muskoka chairs here. They are Adirondack chairs.
I've heard it both ways.
I've heard it right and wrong. But
All right, get out of here. Go back to your own country. Just because you became part of Canada in the 40s.
Listen, we got sold to Canada, essentially.
Yeah.
So America didn't get us. There's a whole conspiracy theory. I'll give you a book on it.
Oh, God.
But, getting back to the task at hand, I had the extreme privilege of playing Matt Schnarr, probably one of the nicest opponents in our club.
Aside from everybody at this table.
Aside from no. Like I think he needs a color. He's just one of the most.
Oh yeah, I know.
Like best
I
opponents.
tease.
Good cheer all the time, which he needs because this guy brought 2 barbed hybridoodles. Like he plays Tyranids. I'm giving him a hard time, but like though he whipped out 2 of these Forge World models, I was like, what is happening?
Well, I think everybody. Once I tabled him in our game that I played against him, I think he was like, I think this one trick pony is kind of played out in this meta.
So he ran something that was very, it was just a steamroller, I gotta say. So it was 2 barbed hybridoodles, 2 Malanthropes, barbed, 2 Malanthropes, 4 Zoanthropes, 6
Malanthropes.
Yeah, 6 6 of the Hive Guard, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the big Tyranid guy with the cannon in his back? Exocrine.
Yeah.
And that was his list at 2,000 points. That thing hits so hard.
If it doesn't move, yeah.
But
Dude's like, I want all the toys.
Mhm.
I want all the toys.
But I was running the Necron list that I normally run, and we rolled the Relic. So I looked at his list. I was like, he's only got like 10 infantry, so I killed them. So he couldn't win, and then it was just taking pounding after pounding after pounding.
Well, he could win. He just couldn't pick it up. The
Right.
relic is if nobody's touching its closest, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
then probably would have been considered a draw. Then I'm not sure. We'd have to go back.
You'd have to be equally close for it to be a draw,
Yeah,
which is pretty tough.
I think
Because someone's probably a millimeter
There's
closer.
still victory points.
No, not in Relic.
Not in Relic.
Oh.
So basically, it
Yeah.
came down to I would have been able to move my Cryptek and Lord, the only two models that I had left. They're infantry-sized bases, so they would have been able to sneak up and get closer to it than his giant monster bases.
Yeah.
So we just called it. I would consider it a draw, morally, but it was such a fun game. I have to say the Forge World models put out a lot of hurt, but with ballistic skill hitting on 4s, it's not terrible. With 2 of them, it is intimidating. But he had a lot of trouble keeping the Necrons down. Mostly like
So you got lucky bringing them back up.
I did, but I also was running 2 res orbs and a
Of course.
Cryptek.
Yep.
No, not don't roll your eyes. Guy who wants to put a Chaos Lord next to his Falchion.
Chaos Lord and a Sorcerer giving it prescience.
You're a bad person, and
Also,
you need to look inside your heart.
Giving it a 5-up feel no pain, even though nothing was touching it.
What is wrong with you? So yeah, the Tesseract arc just got murked right away. He was.
So I got all the Forge World books. I
Mhm.
acquired them.
Yes,
Not impressed with it. I looked at it and I was like,
it's too expensive.
it's way too expensive for what it does. It's like it's D6. Like the best thing is like D6 shot, strength 8, AP -2 or 3, D6 damage. Like I was like, so that's just a D6 shot missile launcher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to remove it and run 2 night sights. I mean, I might, but I just love the model so
Yeah,
much.
it's a really cool.
Like
model.
that I'll take the hit on the efficiency.
Did you run a Satan?
Yeah,
Nice.
I love the Satan. He put a lot of hurt on his warlord, who was one of the Malanthropes. So just doing the straight 3 damage is brutal. It's a bad surprise too, because people see the Deceiver and they're like, "Well, you're not the combat one." Upsettingly, nothing had to take morale tests for him. So
Yeah,
like,
he's got synapse, right?
Yeah. And there were no troops. Like, yeah, he hit hard. The Zoanthropes lasted in combat against my Necron warriors so long.
3 up
Three up
save
involved.
does it, man.
Yeah,
It's brutal.
but my Necrons, I kept giving them my will be done, so they were hitting on 2s in combat. It was just really funny to me.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Great game, great game. Lessons that I would take from it. I think be more aggressive and also bulk out your immortal squads to 10 rather than taking 2 5s. 2 5s is just silly.
You don't think you'll get smacked by morale?
No, you got leadership 10.
Yeah, high leadership.
Yeah.
yeah.
Are they still leadership 10?
Mm-hmm.
But they're troops, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can see the. Oh, again, it comes down to things like stratagems, and it will be done, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the reason why I won't take multiple squads of noise marines, because when it comes down to stratagems and abilities,
Yeah, you want to spend those points.
unit. Yeah, if you're just doing it to affect 5 guys, you'd rather get my will be done on 10 guys
Or 20.
or 20, and then you're getting the Tesla off on 5s and 6s and really ramping that herd up.
Yeah, the Tesla put in so much work this game.
Nice.
Yeah. I love Annihilation Barges now, because it's just like zap. And
Which ones are those? Is that the plastic kit with the little...
that's the one that also builds the command barge.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, such a good kit. Anyone that plays Necron has one.
Yeah, 1 or 2. Yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah, so that was my game play. And then Matt Schneider drove me home, like the true gent that he is.
Nice.
Did he take a selfie with you?
No, he didn't.
He only takes that with people he beats, right?
Yeah.
Ah.
No, Matt has this great habit of taking a selfie with people for the league. And yeah, I don't know.
That he crushes.
Yes, that he just destroys. Yeah.
I love that. He's
that's
a gentleman.
That's your last game for our league, eh?
Yeah.
How about you? Who are you paired up against this round?
Yeah, so we haven't got it in yet. I think it's coming up on Friday. It's Victor, Dark Angel Victor.
Cruzerio
That's the one.
or Melgar Garcia.
No.
Cruzerio.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm playing.
Good last name.
I'm playing Nick Wilkins next Friday night at his place once he gets the jungle table.
Yeah.
We're gonna throw
It's
down.
coming soon. I'm gonna drive it over.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
All right. Well, I mean that's Hobby Desk and General's Armchair, which
So-
are two unique segments.
We didn't steal them from anybody.
That's right.
So Paul's gonna show me some pictures from his Airbnb, and we'll be right back at you.
Battle Brothers Studios, a commission painting service passionate about making your miniatures and your gaming table look great. Our philosophy at Battle Brothers is this: your army is our army. Every model will be something you can be proud to show off. Send us a message on facebook.com/Battle Brothers Studios for a free quote and make that dream project come to life. We also have something special planned for the release of 8th edition of 40K. Right now, get 20% off if you commission us to paint an 8th edition starter set, or get a 10% off Army Bundle bonus for painting up your new 8th edition 40K Army. Inquire with us on Facebook for full details.
Hogtown, Hogtown, Hogtown!
Saturdays at Sword and Board.
Rock and Bloor!
It's behind a pizza.
Oh yeah!
Yeah!
Idiots. All right, welcome back to episode. What are we at? 19?
I don't know how we've been together so long.
I don't know. Feels. You know what? Still haven't lost that loving feeling.
No, definitely not. It's like a...
Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy gets it.
I get kind of giddy every time you guys come over.
It's nice. I
It's
think
still exciting.
it might be the fact that we're crushing beers and talking nerd stuff.
We're not crushing beers.
I have had 15 or 16 beers since I have sat at this table
Like,
today.
Little bits beers.
Itty bitty beers. No, like it was just nice. But episode 19, we're talking about list building. I
We
think
didn't have anything else better to talk about.
it.
no, but this is a great topic.
This is a great topic.
Yeah,
And hopefully we get some good conversations going here.
exactly. We, like I said, Nick wanted to call this episode. We built this listy on rock and roll. I didn't want to call it that, so we went with back to basic. I think that's the way it happened.
Yeah,
we'd
sure.
have to look at the tape.
Okay, Stalin. Rewriting history.
I wish I had
Just
the
'cause
hair
you
of
can
Stalin.
Write it down. Yeah, so we're going to talk about not how to build a list. That's a wrong way to approach this. But just some things that should be in the back of your mind, whether you're playing casual games, more competitive games, because we talked about this before on the podcast. The aim of the game is to, well, it's twofold, to win and to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into a game unable to win,
You're not gonna have.
you're not going to have fun. Even if you wipe the opponent off the table and they have 3 models left and they win the game, you're just like, bah. Kind of annoying. Sometimes it happens even when you build a good list, as I know very well.
Here's a question for you.
It's not question time, but okay.
Is having fun winning, or is winning having fun?
In my mind, they are two separate and equal things.
Yep, 2 separate. Yeah,
Because I've lost games that have been the best games I've ever
but
played.
you had a chance of winning,
I did.
right? You were outplayed or outrolled.
Yes.
But if you go- like, it's sometimes it's obvious when you throw down on a table. There have been times where I've been on the receiving end and I've dished it out, where it's like, this person didn't have a chance of winning this game, no matter what they did, or I didn't have a chance of winning this game with this list.
and that just feels bad, man.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I mean. So I've broken down. I'm going to use we've. We've broken down
Thanks, Nick.
this topic into 3 subtopics on what to keep in mind when you're writing a list. So number 1 is scoring objectives. Number 2 is dishing out the hurt. And number 3 is stopping your opponent from doing number 1 and 2.
I love number 3.
Yeah. So I think that's the really distilled down philosophy behind building a list. Just when you're, okay, I've got these models. Okay, this is how you play the game. So first of all, we've got objectives.
Mm-hmm.
Now, throw it at me, guys. How do you score objectives? What do you do? When you're building a list? How do you make sure you score objectives?
Now, it depends on what list I'm taking. If I'm doing my Space Marines, I do as many scoring units as I can.
What's a scoring unit?
It is, well, for the Space Marines, it's a troop unit, and depending on what list I take, they have objectives secured in the 8th edition. So I will take at least one tactical squad and a scout squad. Mm-hmm. And then it like gets a little fishy. Maybe I'll do another tactical squad. Maybe I'll lean towards a more elite army after that.
That's fair. So an important thing to keep in mind in 8th edition is there's 2 separate rules for controlling objectives right now that are super important. The first one is the one that we're all familiar with from the main rulebook. It's the most models within 3 inches of the center of the objective controls it.
Mm-hmm.
The second one has like 3-4 different names now, and we'll probably have 30 different names by the time we're done with the codexes. Everything from Defenders of Humanity to Despoilers of the Galaxy to blah 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 blah. But essentially, your troops have objectives secured. So even if one model from a troops unit in a battle-forged army is within 3 inches of the center of the objective, you control it.
Yeah.
Which is super important. Besides that, it's just models within a certain distance of it. And, third rule, well, this is actually a rules errata. A flyer battlefield role can never score an objective, which is important to note when we're talking about these sorts.
And that's just a flyer that takes up the flyer 4-sword slot, right?
Yeah, a battlefield role, right?
Yeah.
Not a flyer that's gone supersonic. So, like, for example, the Corvus Blackstar in hover mode doesn't matter. It can never score an objective.
Cool.
What about you, Adam? What do you do to make sure you can get these points up?
Yeah, so I just generally tend to make lists with lots of infantry. That's just my 3rd edition, 4th edition genes.
It works in 8th, man.
Yeah, well, with my Necron list, like, bodies is the tactic. You know, have as many Necrons as you can.
Yeah.
I remember when it was cool to just make a Space Marine army with no pizzazz, like all Bolter Marines. And it was like, how cheap can I make my HQ?
The Rhino Rush.
And how many Bolter Marines can I get?
Yeah.
Because it was about rolling dice. And there's just something, like, that's the extreme version of it. But I will generally start HQ, and now it's 2 HQ, 3 troops to really optimize it. But, just how many basic bodies can I get out there?
Yep. I like to approach it from the idea that to get an objective, because you're not always defending an objective. Sometimes you have to go and take it, and you got to take it hard.
That's what I'm not as good at.
Okay.
Oh, did you just open up a beer?
I did.
Tell us about that beer.
Oh, well, it's the Schnicked Stout.
Is that the sound that Wolverine makes when he puts out his claws?
Maybe it's the sound that it made when I opened it.
Oh.
So stouts are hard to get right, and we're going to see if they do it. This is Muskoka Brewery again.
Adirondack?
And I've
Nick is so mad.
Not mad.
Why?
Disappointed.
Why mad?
Because I called it Adirondack instead of Muskoka.
Wow. The Adirondack Chair Brewery.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. Let's see what they say about themselves as I pour it all over the table.
Come on.
Schnicked is that numbing gasp for breath feeling when you plunge into a Muskoka lake for a chilly late night dip. It doesn't say this on here, but maybe with no clothes on. To warm you up afterward, we created this rich velvety stout infused with Muskoka Roastery's signature lumberjack coffee.
Ooh.
I'm really upset that coffee was the very last word of this, because now I don't want to drink it.
I know. You have like an aversion to coffee.
I do.
You don't mess with coffee, do you?
No, let's see if I like this. It's more like drinking coffee-flavored Coca-Cola than it is a stout.
Okay. Oh, he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to concur with that appraisal, but I do like it.
All right, one sip for Polly. Yeah, that's not for me.
No.
No.
Yeah, wouldn't buy it again. Sorry, Miss
I
Coca.
thought you were gonna go throw up in the sink. You got up and left.
No, just cleaning up the spill because I was just pouring it on the table as
Yeah.
I was leaning the can over to read it.
That's neither fish nor fowl. Like,
It tastes like pop.
yeah. Oh, this would be really good if I were 16 and hated beer.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Schnicked balls.
Whoa! What, did you just back up into the lot?
Got a food truck. We've talked about this before on the podcast. It's a fantastic, easy drinking beer from Henderson's.
Delicious. I'm still rocking the Belgian Moon.
Can we tell the story of the food truck?
Back in the day.
Oh, no, like our story of the food truck.
Oh, yeah. So, back in the day, when Adam... Were you a father yet, or were you expecting?
I think this was after she was born.
When was Blakely born?
Maybe it was before. November 30th.
Okay, it was after.
After, yeah.
Paul was trapped in a blizzard.
No, oh wait, yes I was. I was stuck in Gander, Newfoundland.
Yeah. Paul was trapped in a blizzard, and Adam threw a diaper party.
Because
Which
Paul
is
told me to.
not as kinky as it sounds, to disappoint all your listeners.
I felt so bad that I was like, you should, like, in Newfoundland we do this thing, it's called the diaper party, when like one of the dudes is about to have a kid, you like, everyone brings a pack of like diapers, and you just hang out and like drink beer. And Adam was like, that's a great idea. I was like, yeah man, you should do it. I can't come though because I got a flight.
So Adam invited us all to Henderson's Brewery, which is just down the road. It was the first time I've been there. Thank you for introducing another self-destructive element to my life.
Oh, man. Don't ask me what my day job is.
And we drank from like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Just the beers kept coming. 6 or 7 o'clock rolls around, and we're like, we're really hungry. And Henderson's, to be fair, is in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's in an industrial area. The Drake commissary wasn't there yet.
Nope.
It's there now. And just as we were about to leave, Gangsta Grilled Cheese appeared.
Yeah.
So this food truck rolls up, and they're called Gangsta Grilled Cheese. And they had Gangsta Grilled Cheese, and we're like, yes. So we keep drinking. We go out to get some grilled cheese, and they're like, we have Gangsta Ketchup. I'm like, what's that? They're like, it's just sriracha mixed with ketchup.
I'll take some gangsta ketchup. Hook me up, yo.
There was one time I took a girl out for ice cream, and totally the same thing.
Was it gangsta ice cream?
It wasn't gangsta ice cream, but it's the same sort of thing. And like we go to the ice cream place, and she was like, "What kind of cones do you have?" And they were like, "We got waffle cones. We got dipped waffle cones." And then they were like, "We got sugar cones." She was like, "Paul, I got sugar cones!" And then looks at the guy. I was like, "What does that mean?" Like she was just so
Excited?
so excited, and then didn't know what she was so pumped for. I was like, "You're a ton of fun."
Yeah, sugar
It's like-
cones are the worst cones.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, it's like the most basic cone you can get.
I mean, this is coming as a guy that gets a scoop in a cup. I don't truck with no cones.
Oh,
Ah,
I
I'm a
love a
cup-
good
I'm a
waffle
cup
cone.
Get out of here.
Like a fresh made waffle cone?
Yeah.
Really good.
Fresh made. So, another waffle cone story, and then we can get back to Warhammer. Another girl that I dated, her mom told her that the waffle cones...
Number 167.
Let me go back to the books. Her mom told her that the waffle cones were just for decoration, so she wouldn't ask for one as a kid. She didn't realize that that was a lie until she got a job at Laura Secord as a teenager. And, like, had to quietly panic while they were like, this is how we make waffle cones. And she's like, I've been lied to for, like, 16 years.
That's amazing.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. You got a kid. You can tell all sorts of lies to that.
Oh, yeah.
That little girl.
It's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what were we talking about? Objectives?
I don't know.
So there's two types of objectives, and I asked you how you score objectives. Now I'm going to re-ask you the question when I introduce a new caveat. How do you score objectives when you're dealing with end of game objectives versus progressive objectives. So end of game objectives, what we're talking about is the standard Eternal War missions in the 40k rulebook, and progressive objectives are things like Maelstrom or the Dominion mission in the Horus Heresy series.
So for progressive objectives, I love mobility. My Necrons, of all things, do this really well because between the Wraiths, the Triarch Praetorians, or the Deceiver's ability to redeploy D3 units right off the bat, I can get to progressive objectives when I need to. Especially the one where it's like you're burning them down. Having the Deceiver is so nice that you can like put yourself in threat range first turn, and you just shift the momentum of that game.
You really like that ability because you use Pollux in 30k as well, and it's the same deal.
I love redeploying.
Yeah.
Like it's such a good way to fake out a player, and like deployment is a game in itself sometimes. Like, and
Even more so now.
yeah, so like being able to bait someone, like putting a really juicy target somewhere and then being able to move it away from there, you've now kind of you've got them maybe extended in a bad way, or if you mess up, you can counter deploy once again. And I just love that. That is an ability that if I see it in a list, I'm gonna go for it.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
You
with my sisters, I've definitely got this game on lock a lot more than my Primaris Marines, which are really hurting right now. And the way it works is,
how so?
oh, they just I was doing really well at first. Like I won probably most of my games up to a certain point, and then I just started losing terribly, like so many games in a row. We've talked about it on the podcast. Anyways, so the sisters,
We have to have a game day where like we get 4 people, and like we just play because I haven't played you guys in since 8th dropped.
yeah, basically, yeah, since day one.
Yeah, since literally day one.
I couldn't keep up. My Primaris Marine list just is
I want to play your
it needs
Primaris,
some
and I want to
help.
play your new fist list.
I now that I get that commission off my table, I can get those fists painted up. I'm gonna put in some work on them tomorrow morning, actually.
Nice.
So with the sisters, the strategy is like everybody just load up in some trucks and just like get to where you need to go, and then just sit on them and hope you can last.
Get in. We're going shopping.
Right. Yeah, that's right. My
Stop it.
girls.
That's a Mean Girls reference. All you people out there.
You know
so
what?
weird.
I take back my indignation. That's a great reference to make.
So I load my girls up into my shopping carts, and we go shopping for objectives, and then I hope that I can.
You haven't seen Mean Girls? Oh my god.
I've seen it just
Okay.
once and a long time ago.
It's a meme.
I'm not an expert.
It's a meme.
Thank you.
They get into a convertible,
I'm
not a
going.
shopping cart.
I'm going to show your daughter Mean Girls. That's what I'm gonna do when I'm babysitting.
I'm just having fun with it, man.
I know.
So Nick, like, what's your approach to like objectives, especially the second batch that we just identified?
Progressive objectives.
Yeah.
Well, the nice part about Maelstrom, and I find this especially with 8th edition, is it's not so much geared around hitting those objectives.
You don't play Maelstrom, do you?
I do. All 3 of these games from Maelstrom, I'm starting to dig it.
I really
Told you.
like it.
Yeah.
Told-
And
told you guys.
8th edition fixed the issues because they got rid of a lot of the secure.
Mm-hmm.
It's more balanced now. Because the worst thing was like, oh, that's on the edge of that's on the other side of the board. But when you're drawing things like, oh, that's on the other side of the board, but I also need to like kill a unit, make sure no one's in my deployment zone. Those sorts of objectives are gone. For me, one thing I actually learned while playing our friend Val Heffelfinger, who was here
Simon,
last edition.
Last name redacted.
So Maelstrom is actually way different than I previously thought. So you score your Maelstrom objective cards at the end of a turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yours or
Every
your
turn.
enemies.
Every turn now, which is a
Not
big,
your battle round.
which
So
is a
if,
big difference.
so if you, for whatever reason, I don't know what reason it would be, but for example, kill an enemy unit. If you kill an enemy unit in Overwatch in your enemy's turn, that's an objective card. If you control an objective at the end of your enemy's turn, Yunari, for example, can do this. Necrons can do this with death marks, right?
Yeah.
Well, anybody could do that if they were contested in a combat. There's the same amount of models, or I don't know.
No, right?
Exactly. You finally win out that combat.
Yeah, and then at the end of the turn, you get it.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to take the same approach with both end of game objectives and progressive objectives, which is basically hold on to the ones you got and go from there. Because if you've got 3 in your zone, you're playing the odds that you're going to draw things. I really like the Maelstrom objective, defend.
Mm-hmm. It's a neat little addition.
And it's also 2 consecutive turns. So your turn and your enemy's turn.
Okay, so not two game battle rounds.
Right, so you have to hold it at the end of your turn, and then you have to hold it again at the end of your enemy's turn.
Okay, that's not...
It's not as hard as I initially thought. I'm like, oh, geez, that's rough.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, just get there and stay there.
Yeah.
1 round.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I find things like the blob of 20 cultists really holds an objective. Sometimes when you're playing elite army versus elite army, it is tough to reach out and touch objectives that are really, really far away. Mm-hmm. So whenever and this comes back to also deployment and pre-deployment, when you're deploying the objectives, I like to try and spread out the actual objective. So if someone's like really getting in the middle, I'm going to try and put it like in the top right and the top left corner, so that if you have that option, they're there. So you get some units on them, score it, go forward. Mobile tough units are huge for this. I really, really like rhinos. Because rhinos, they're fast.
Yep.
Because you're moving, if you drop a unit off, you're moving 12 plus d6 a turn. It's pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. You can, I like rhinos just in this edition for dropping people off and then messing up someone's battle plan.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Tying up a unit.
Yeah, it's so handy to have that thing just drop off your unit of Stern Guard, and then next turn it's in someone's lines, assaulting a shooty unit.
Yeah, especially if you throw a commie melta on there. That might be the next thing I do with my rhinos.
I'm telling you, man.
Can you do that in 8th now?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we do it in 30k, and Paul and I faced against that, and we're like, that's actually really dirty.
You can put a pintle mounted multi-melta on a rhino in 30k.
Yeah.
Which, obviously, you would. That's where I got the idea of sticking hunter-killer missiles on every transport.
Yeah.
Because first turn, you fire every one at one thing, and you just blow it up.
Yep. That's a really good idea.
Which isn't such a diversion off of our main topic here. How do you build your list? It's an option now, and it's actually a really good option.
Yeah, I just really, I put as much stuff as I can in transports.
Yeah.
Hunter-killer missiles are what, 6 points? 10?
Yeah, whatever.
They're not that
They're
expensive.
not a lot.
And nor should they be, because they're one use. But first turn, if you get first turn, and you just blow up a dreadnought for what...
Even if you take half wounds off a dreadnought.
Yeah, it's hilarious to be like, what killed it? A couple of rhinos.
Yeah. So the last point I have here for objectives is holding your fast units back. If you've got the opportunity to outflank, to just run up a flank and then jump on an objective when you get it, or if you're Eldar and you've got access to jet bikes, or you're Tau and you've got piranhas and stuff,
or you've got wraiths,
or even small units of deep strikers. And I think Scions are a great example of this. You don't have to load them up with all special weapons, because you've got 5 Scions with hotshot lasguns. You can drop those directly on an objective when you need them.
Just keep it cheap, hold it back, and put it in a particular place.
Yeah, think of baseball for a couple of turns, and then pop them out when you need them.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And summoning also really comes into this as well. Although I'm not sure how objective secured and summoned demons work.
Why?
Yeah.
What's the thing there?
Do they have objective secured?
Why wouldn't they?
Because they're summoned units. Do they have the troop role? Are they part of the army?
Sure they are.
I don't think they're part of the army.
We'd have to look into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of those things that is a really good idea.
Because I don't think they're part of the army. Because if you build a list, if you build like a list that has 2 HQs and 2 troops, you don't have a battalion. You can't be like, oh, I summoned 30 bloodletters. Oh, I all of a sudden have a battalion. I gain 3 command points.
No, because your command points determined at the beginning. But
Right. I don't know. It's something to talk about.
I'm not sure. And
Yeah. No, it's just something that popped into my head right now. Moving on to the second point is dishing out the hurt. And this is what I kind of build my list around, is the shock and awe factor. I don't know why I was laughing so much.
You just said it so matter-of-factly, but it's just like...
Dishing at the hurt is what I build my list around. It's like, yeah, not me. I build my list around hugs.
No, but like...
And it came from Nick, so it was like...
Yeah. But like our 30k game at the latest at our campaign day was like the perfect example. Like I was able to neutralize your 2 most powerful units in the first 2 turns.
Yeah.
Like,
I made a bad life choice in that game.
That's fine. We all make bad life choices. But the point is like
it's fine when you win.
Some armies, my armies, can't go toe to toe attrition. If anyone out there ever plays me, if you want to draw me into an attrition style game, I'm going to lose. I have to kill things quickly to win.
Yeah, but like that is dealing with attrition. You know, that's why my armies always skew towards very durable units.
Yes, exactly, and that's the flip side to it.
Where like I will have turns where like I don't kill a ton, but it's like, oh, what did they kill of yours? It's like
couple Marines,
4 Marines.
Stripped a couple wounds off the Land Raider.
That's fine. Now I'm going to push everything forward. There comes a turn every time I play my fists where a ton of my stuff dies. Because like people have been plunking wounds off and like I present enough threats all at once that like if you don't defeat by details, that list rolls over stuff. But if you start focusing on things, you're like, alright, that dreadnought's gone, that tank is gone, that tank is gone, that unit's gone. That's the way to destroy my lists, is focus fire.
Exactly, because that's kind of my point, right? If you're just stripping wounds off units, you're not doing anything. You have to fully kill stuff in this edition. People aren't falling back. Vehicles aren't blowing up because a melt-a-gun hit somebody in the eye. So you really have to dish out the hurt and dish it out quickly. Neutralizing key units, buff units, anything that has any sort of aura ability. Psychers are a great example of this. HQs are a great example of this. Things that you know can really hurt your enemy. Like, for example, the best example I can think of is when I played Jason Booth, in our last game in 8th edition. He took a Whirlwind Scorpius. I know exactly what that does, and I know it can dish a lot of hurt out. So even though he had Demolisher cannons pointed directly at me, I'm like, that needs to die. Yeah. Right now.
Like, what I've found is I need to destroy anything that can get in my lines really quickly. Again, especially with the Imperial Fist. Because as soon as stuff starts to assault me, my battlefield effectiveness goes down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So if there's a fast unit, that thing has to die.
Fast transports have to die.
Gotta go. Yep. That's why when I played Dave and his Dark Eldar, I was like, this is not the game for me.
Drew Carey?
Yeah, when I had to beat up Drew Carey, I felt very Mimi-esque in that game.
That's an old reference.
That's okay. Still good. Still fresh.
So this also feeds into the kind of like take all comers approach, and the tailoring is not the best word for it, but tweaking your list for an opponent. Because sometimes it's like, I know what you're bringing, let's tool up our armies to take out each other. Because if I'm playing a Space Marine list, I'm not going to load up on the anti-infantry.
Like, every list I take is a take all comers list.
Yeah.
Like, I never tailor. It just feels wrong to me. It feels cheap.
That's the side of the fence that I sit on.
I don't know. There are some games where it's fun to kind of do that, where it's like, we know what we're both going to bring. We're bringing our A game. Let's do this. if I know I'm facing a psychic heavy army, I might not even bring psychers because there's no point.
True, but like, I don't know. I just don't feel like that's, to me, that's not the spirit of the game. I mean, I tailored my list against you, but more using you as a whetstone, because it's like, oh, this is a combined arms list that needs to be dealt with, so you need to be able to deal with everything. And then I just realized that, like, that philosophy worked for me pretty well, so I just kept it going.
Yeah. So the idea that, like, I like to keep in mind when I build a take all comers list is, like, this list needs to be able to kill 3 knights by the end of turn 5. Also, it needs to be able to kill 140 orc boys by the end of turn 5.
I never even thought of it like that.
So if you're bringing, like, those are the two extremes, right? You're literally dealing with 72 wounds on a knight, or 140 wounds, probably with a pain boy and a big mech with a custom force field. So that's what I keep in mind when I do it. That's why the list I'm building now has a lot of rapier batteries, just because that's putting out 36 heavy bolter shots a turn.
It's not very, very chaosy.
Sure it is. Because when you kill the crewman, the rapier batteries assault you and regain wounds when they eat people.
No, they don't, do they? Get out,
They have
Nicholas.
They have the machine Malefica roll.
I hate it.
It's so funny.
So this is funny because this is two different philosophies, and I actually don't think it's fair to just juxtapose these two different philosophies.
Oh no, there's like a million more compared to like.
Yeah.
No, but these are the extremes. I'm
Yeah.
talking the extremes. Like, if I said, like,
And not that
Adam,
take all comers as an extreme, but
no, but Adam,
yeah.
you and I next weekend, we're gonna throw down. You're bringing your Primaris Marines. I'm bringing my Chaos. Let's keep our lists a secret. I still know what you have. You know what I have. You probably know.
That's like a different.
No surprise. Nick's bringing a Fire Raptor. How are you gonna deal with that?
But
You bring a Fire Raptor.
No, oddly enough,
still,
no.
Even still, in my mind, like I'm building a list, like saying I don't know what he has. You know what I mean?
You know
even
what
though
I
I know it, even though I know what you have, because generally I don't change my list that much.
Yeah, but if you show up with a whole bunch of bolters and heavy bolters, and I show up with a knight,
Then you're going, whoops.
Yeah, what? Oh,
Yeah.
nuts.
oh shucks.
So like, you know, have some anti-tank, have some anti-infantry, have some fast things, have some
No, exactly. Like, yeah.
have
for
some
sure.
durable things, because the fast things tend to not be
But
durable.
remember, this all ties back into point 1, which is score objectives, which 3 knights has a tough time doing. But 3 knights, if they're built properly and played properly,
Prevents.
can wreck an entire army.
Yeah. So here's so it's funny because I recommended this topic. Let's do list building.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how I build my list. And it presents an interesting discussion, and maybe it's time for it. And I mentioned that we'd get into
bring
this
it,
earlier. So, and this works well on a closed circuit, and especially when you're trying new games with friends, it's like let's buy models that we just think look cool, and hopefully at the end of the day you have a diverse number of factions for that game, because I play many different miniature games. And so nobody has any idea what anything does. So you just show me. You're just kind of like, let's buy some cool things, paint them up, and you spend some time painting them, and then everybody just shows up, and nobody has any idea what anything does, and you just have fun, and somebody wins, somebody loses, and you learn some things, right? And then the next game, maybe your opponent, who's your friend who you just played last week, has bought one new thing, and then you get to kind of learn what that does. And you have some fun, and somebody wins and somebody loses, and because it progresses slowly, and you're not facing this huge dynamic. Like, let's say your closed circuit is like 10 people. You're not facing this wide variety of stuff, right? And it's growing slowly, and so you get a time to learn everything.
Yeah.
it's super, that is like my dream state for all miniature war games, is that like you're just learning it and everyone's just super having fun.
You're living in a fantasy land, man.
But it's not a fantasy land.
That is what happened with all of us and 30K.
It's true.
And that turned into a freaky deaky arms race.
It did turn into a freaky deaky arms race. Which all started when I got shipped a second Dreadclaw by accident. I got the first one. I'm like, this is really cool. And then a week later, I was like, oh, I got a second package. What is it? It's another Dreadclaw! I'm going to buy a third one.
Oh, you're the worst. And then I was like, well, I guess...
I need quad launchers.
Yep, I need those quad launchers. God, those were a nightmare to put together.
So it's so you just kind of proved the point that it has to be a closed circuit, and it generally only lasts so long before somebody. Mm-hmm. That's a freak situation where you're like, "Oops, I just got two really amazing units."
You
one of
just
which was
told us
free.
a story about how you got a Leviathan Dreadnought and a Dreadnought drop pod, so you can
through sheer tyranny,
through coercion,
So your freak incidents tend to happen a lot with you. Don't you have a Fire Raptor?
Yeah.
And a Storm Eagle?
Yeah, but then 30K became terrible.
No, I still like
Sorry,
30K.
40K became awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the best way to look at it. But even when you're building an army with like the fun units, you still can't
it's
build
not
a
even
list.
the fun units. It's just like let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
You don't even know the game well enough to be like, oh, this is a fun unit, or this is a competitive unit, or this is a. It's like, I like this.
I think
there's something in me that just wants that.
No, I think the Adam that you want to be is different than the Adam that you are. Because I have never seen you run a bad list. I have never seen you run a list. Like, every time I've seen you play a game of Horus Heresy or 40K in 5th edition, you are running a strong, well-balanced list. That is clearly, you're not running 9 squads of interceptors.
No. So that's different because you played, majority of the time, both you guys have played my sisters, which is an army that I've had for 10 years.
Yeah. And it's
so
well thought out.
Generally know how
army.
it works.
Yeah.
Right? And that's back in 30K, which, for sisters, things haven't changed much. So it just still is good.
Yeah, 40K.
Sorry, 3rd edition is what I meant to say.
Right.
3rd edition, which, nothing's changed. So it still works the same. And then 30K happened, and it was kind of like that at first.
Yeah.
But all rules generally apply in 30K, 40K, right? You build an army kind of the same way.
Yeah.
And then when you try a new miniature game like War Machine or something, it's... Yeah. We had about a year of like super fun with War Machine, and then one friend was like, "Oh, I can find lists on the internet."
Oh no!
Right, and then so Infinity right now is very much like that for me. It's like, that model looks sweet. Let's try it.
Oh, relearning it, yeah.
Yeah, but in an open circuit where you're just like you walk into a situation where everybody's been playing the game for a while, or like Hogtown 40K now, we have 66 people. We're starting to get a bunch of people that have different philosophies, different styles.
Yeah, people will ask questions on the forum or on the Facebook group, and I don't know the people that are answering them, and it freaks me out, and I love it. It's great.
Yeah, it's a cool dynamic to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the same as like 20 friends who know each other and everybody knows what everybody has, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
You don't know when you're going to come up against 2 Ivra Forgeable battle suits with flamers that do 3 damage each and shoot 3d6 shots. Like, you just don't know.
Or 2 Fire Raptors and a bunch of Primaris Marines.
Yeah, that Ultramarine guy.
Oh. Did we tell that story?
Yeah,
we told that story on air. Okay.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you still want to build like a takeable numbers list. You know what's out there. You know what people can bring.
I'm talking like my dream scenario, which is
that's
like,
fair.
Let's have fun. And it's the tweaking that's fun. It's like you get to learn it.
My dream scenario
and you get
is something different.
And you get to
involves a couple redheads.
Playing war games with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, with
pretty much.
Probably less.
My beard's pretty red.
Yeah. Get out of here.
That's
shame.
My beard's pretty red. Your beard's pretty red. And it's on your head.
Yeah.
That's
his
on my
face.
head too.
Dude, my face is the front part of my head.
All right.
It's the part that everyone knows. It's the billboard of the Paul Fowler brand.
Yeah.
So, epitomizing this take all comers mentality is missile launchers. You like them.
I love missile launchers. I love an all missile launcher Devastator squad.
If I had a choice to go back and redo the underslung weapons, I would definitely choose missile launchers because just the flexibility of them is fantastic.
They've always been like that.
No,
and,
they
and now it's
They're better now,
They're way
Yeah.
better now.
but
Yeah.
they've always been the most.
the versatile weapon. They like because of the two options.
But I think
they've always had two.
Blast weapons in 7th edition and earlier were very dependent on catching your opponent making a mistake or playing an inexperienced opponent
Oh yeah, because you just space out and it's
with
not a problem,
with
right?
templates. Yeah, but now you're talking about with a Devastator squad or a Havoc squad, 4d6 shots.
Mhm.
That ain't too shabby. Or 4 strength 8. Yeah, no, they're good.
Yeah, missile launchers all the way. That's something that the Imperium does really well.
Unless you're Primaris Marine and you don't know how to use technology.
Well,
Except
Are you
except
really
for one
complaining
thing.
about Primaris?
Except for one thing.
don't worry, they're coming with their bonuses.
They gave the codex and they were like, "Here's a power sword for your sergeant." It's like, yay!
They're not getting a sub.
Something.
That's their codex.
No, they're definitely going to get more options.
I don't think so.
Ninth
That's
edition?
their codex for 9th edition. We're only talking about 9th edition.
Dude, no, you have to consider this is a product like the Primaris Marines were a product that was launched with a very, very long lead time. Like you're going to get specialized Primaris in our lifetimes. Yeah, not in this edition, but you're gonna see it.
I'm not talking, whatever. Sure,
You're gonna see it.
we're gonna see plastic sisters in our lifetime.
But
yeah.
so here's
I'm gonna take off my tinfoil hat and we can go back to the topic.
So here's the thing with list building, and this started in 30K, I think, with the tactical support squads and they're not called Devastator squads, but the heavy weapon squads, where it's like every person in that unit has the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no customizing for the most part. It creates an interesting dynamic, and the Primaris Marines, if you're playing only Primaris stuff, fits into that same category, like that same style of building lists.
Yeah.
It's like Hellblaster squad. Everybody has the same gun.
That's the way that I like to use my every unit. Like every unit has a role as
Mhm.
opposed to every guy has a role.
So, but it's different than the tactical squad, right? Which
Yeah.
is, I have my heavy weapon, I have my special weapon, and I have my bolters that fill out the rest.
Yeah.
And they can do. That's probably why they named it the tactical squad.
I don't run heavy weapons in my tactical squads anymore.
Yeah, right.
just-
Because why?
I just do a sergeant with the combi weapon of whatever special weapon I take, and
That's it.
that's the unit. So I'm like pumping out 4 plasma shots or like 2 multi-melta shots or 2 melta shots when I need them.
Yeah, and it becomes more of a support squad rather than the main meat that it used to be.
Yep.
And they kind of hinted at that when they started doing the combat squatting, which became since we're talking about army list building, it became an interesting way to think about how you build your squads. But anyway, then 8th edition happened.
Yeah. I think that speaks to being able to look at your list and have multiple plans for it. That's something that I really try to do. I don't try to build like a rock or a paper list. I try to build a scissor list that can also be paper. You know, if that makes any sense.
No, it definitely makes sense. But one of the things I've noticed a lot in 8th edition especially is that like shooting is just so powerful. And when all of the stuff was coming up with 8th edition, I was like, this is awesome. Assault's balanced with shooting. Assault's balanced with shooting. Then the fallback rule was released, and I was like, well, it's done.
Yeah.
Because, like, without the fallback rule, they would be, like, the whole thing about, like, oh, you can consolidate into enemy units and drag them into combat. You can, if you move within 1 inch, people can, like, heroically intervene. That was really cool. But, assault is just, it's still kind of dead. I haven't faced an assault army that's really scared me, because it's like, oh, you assaulted that unit. You killed half of them. they're going to fall back, and my rest of my army is going to blow you away.
Yeah, but you're also coming at it from a person that has like an army list that its firepower output in the shooting phase is unparalleled.
Yeah, but I have the option of, and I've played games with the assault option, and I just haven't been impressed with it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, your Contemptor Dreadnought charges into a squad of conscripts. Oh, we fall back and you get nuked by heavy weapon squads. It's like, oh, that's cool.
And especially the there's so many options to not suffer the negative for fallback now.
Yeah. Well, you got
Ultramarines,
not even
orders for conscripts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not even a big deal. It's like I sacrificed shooting for one turn, which is the same as losing a combat in 7th edition and falling back and getting away.
Yeah.
For free. You don't suffer. There's no risk to you for falling back.
I do like that combat units can touch multiple things.
Yeah.
But it is. It's tough. It's a tough consideration.
So we're kind of getting away from the main topic. But
let's get back on track.
All right, the last point I have here for take all comers versus tailoring is psychers. Psychers are definitely a huge thing in 8th edition. There's a lot of buffs around them, and I really like how Deny the Witch works now. You do need at least one psycher to deny the witch, and I think every list should include at least one psycher, just to, because the fact is you can only cast one of each spell aside from smite.
Yeah.
A turn. So, for example, playing against me, if you know that I am running a list that has a Contemptor Dreadnought or Terminators with a Sorcerer who has Warp Time, you want a Psyker just to put in that Sorcerer's way to be like, nope, I beat you.
Yeah, but then you don't just throw him in a Dreadclaw and he goes wherever he wants.
No, but that's my point. You put him in the Dreadclaw, he's still outside of 9 inches.
Yeah.
That's not a guaranteed charge.
No, and
even with a command point reroll, that's a really, really risky charge. 9 inches, not the easiest thing to do.
Paul agrees.
Yeah, Paul agrees.
He nodded. 9 inches is not the average on 2 dice. We know that for sure.
Definitely not the average.
You might call it 7.
Yeah,
would be the average.
That's right. And 10.5 is the average on 3 dice. So build your list around that.
Put that in your pipe.
And 3.5 is the average on 1 dice.
I get so mad at that.
Does 10.5 make you mad too?
Less.
Yeah. Because there's 3 dice, right?
Yeah.
It's more averaging.
Yep.
Anyways.
Yeah, no.
So the psycher thing. You had something to say. Go for it.
Yeah, like I sometimes don't really bother with a psycher. Like I like using them in my Space Marine list. I'll throw in a librarian here and there, but generally I find it better to build a list that can weather it without it.
Yeah, I think cheap psychers, any army that has cheap psychers has a huge advantage.
Yeah, like
Grey Knights, Imperial Guard even, or even Orcs, because Weird Boys are pretty cheap. If you're throwing 140 boys and you're like, oh, how do I deal with things like a Knight if I'm only taking 140 boys? 9 Weird Boys? That's 9 D3 smites.
Yeah, smite is certainly an issue. The smite spam. It's become something that people that talk about building a list.
Yeah.
How do I get as many smites as possible, right? Because it's such an effective... Mortal Wounds is such an effective thing.
That's what I mean. Like, if you might not have any anti-tank, but then all of a sudden...
You just need Mortal Wounds.
You just need Mortal Wounds to push those wounds through, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to keep in mind is, smites are good. Like, when I played Simon, his smites were absolutely terrifying. And that was a list that everybody had smite. And I was still able to deal with it. So it's not, the end-all, be-all.
But,
It's still a consideration.
It's a brutal thing to have to face down.
Thankfully, I haven't played a smite spam list yet.
Yeah, give it a minute.
Yeah.
You'll get there.
I did play a list with 3 Custodes Land Raiders and 2 Primaris Psychers. That was not nice.
Primaris Space Marine Psychers?
No. What are they called? They're called Primaris Psychers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Primaris Librarians.
No. No, the Imperial Guard ones.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Guys, get a thesaurus.
Right? I will incept your intercessor inceptionary.
Yeah. Don't worry, my repulsors and my interceptors will assault your interceptors and shoot at you with a repulsor. What?
So to sum up this section, have a plan to deal with all sorts of enemy units. Titanic, vehicles, mass infantry, even characters. I wish Chaos had some sort of access to snipers, because that would be the bee's knees.
I feel like sniper is just like, it's a fool's errand to chase, because not many sniper units put out enough hurt to like really threaten those 5 wound characters.
No, but you're still gonna want to, like, if you have a bubble with that character, you're gonna think twice about putting them into a position where they can do a lot of work.
Yeah.
So if you have 5 scouts with sniper rifles, because remember, not only can scouts target characters, but sniper rifles also do mortal wounds on 6s.
Yeah, but never chase a 6.
No,
never
but my point
6.
is, it's enough to be like, I'm not going to put this captain in range of those scouts, and in range of those scouts might be where he is the most effective.
True. And like, getting back to having a plan for dealing with everything, ignoring stuff is a plan. Like, if you have it in your head that it's like, I'm just going to ignore the tank. Like, I'm just not going to deal with it. I'm going to play a different game. Like, I'm going to control the board. I'm going to make sure my guys are where they need to be at a line of sight, blah, 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 blah. Like, ignoring something or just not destroying it and just tying it up, that's a plan.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, last little thing I got here is titled No Plan Survives Contact with the Enemy. So you have to have a way, and you have to have a plan in your mind to stop your opponent from doing the same thing that you want to do to them. Scoring objectives and dishing out a lot of damage. 8th edition especially, I find that chaff units are super important.
Mm-hmm. That's where like my marine list suffers the most. I don't have any units that I can like lose and not lose effectiveness. Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face, to paraphrase Mike Tyson.
Yep. So you have to be able to take out threats. You have to be able to get in the way of your opponent.
That's the way I do it. Most of the times I just like, I bother people.
But want to be here?
I bother people until I win games.
But for example, if you're facing down a horde of 140 orcs, the right move is to drive your Land Raider directly into them. Mm-hmm. Because they're not going to do anything to you.
They're going to... Yeah, you're right.
You need 160 boys to kill a Land Raider over like 2 turns when it comes down to stats.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have a Land Raider and you're like, that's a big blob, you send that Land Raider in there, block it, even if you fall back, because that orc player is tied up for a turn. You charge that Land Raider in, the orc player is like, oh, well, first of all, I didn't get the charge. Second of all, now I have to fall back to do anything.
Yeah, it's such a funny little tactic to like push a Land Raider into a huge blob. You're right.
Yeah, just things like that, like blocking.
Rhinos are better for that.
Yeah.
Rhinos, like 30 orc boys could wreck a rhino.
Yeah. It's still hilarious that rhinos can charge things.
Yeah. But that sort of thing, having a chaff unit being like, I know that I have a great artillery battery. If you're playing Imperial Guard, you've got some Manticores, you've got some Wyverns. This is where conscript blobs are a little broken at the moment, because you can just bubble wrap that. So nobody, unless they have long range firepower, no one's deep striking next to you, no one's assaulting that. Yeah, so blocking is huge.
Oh, yeah.
And also, like, for example, when I played Phil in our last game, I did this completely by accident, but then it kind of showed up. I had my Chaos Lord here. I think it was
He's using his finger pointing on the table.
Yeah. So
it's
I had
about the edge of the table,
so
like 2 inches from the edge.
I had my Chaos Lord back a tiny bit. Then I had the Fire Raptor, and then I had the Sorcerer. He declared a charge against my Chaos Lord, which then brought... He only declared the charge against my Chaos Lord, which then brought all 3 units into combat against Bellicor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's stuff like that where it's like, if you want to charge this unit, this HQ unit's either going to heroic intervention or automatically be involved.
Well, this is what I'm talking about, like board control, where you set up a situation where like people are going to get in your lines, people are going to mess up your day. Do it in such a way that they're going to pay for it.
Yep.
Like every inch of ground they take will be soaked in the blood of my righteous brothers.
Yeah, you can kill 2 pawns. You can sacrifice 2 pawns to kill a bishop.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming out ahead there. If I lose a squad of 15 cultists to a bunch of gene stealers so that the rest of my army can blow them away, I came out ahead there.
Yeah. And that's what the cultists are for.
That's exactly what the cultists are for, although I don't want to tell them that.
You're gonna all be demon princes, my dudes. It's gonna be great. You're gonna have so many tentacles, it's gonna be nuts. You're gonna be tired of tentacles.
And then like things like counter charges or counter attacking. If you know you're facing an army that's going to be in your face turn 1, you have to have a way to blunt it and a way to dish out the hurt. And that's a fun part about how reserves work now, because they're not random. So if you know someone's really relying on an alpha strike, you might hold back a unit of Terminators, hold back a unit of Scions, and then they come down with their bloop whatever, blow a unit away, and then you come down with your whatever, blow that unit away.
That's why I love the death marks. Where they just follow someone, they're like pop, 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 and you kill like 2 things that just came in.
So these are like we're not talking like how to win tournaments. We're talking about just things that you need to keep in mind when you are setting out to build a list. Whether it's your first game or your 10th game, if you don't have a way to score objectives, if you don't have a way to actually do damage, for example, if you take a whole bunch of flayed ones, that's your entire army, you're kind of screwed.
I want to do it.
You kind of want to do it. And you have to have a way to stop your opponent. And not just in pure units, but like a plan.
Yeah.
Like how is your army going to stop your opponent from doing number 1 and 2?
And like you're already doing this if you're playing the game, but like sit down and really, really make it explicit what you want to do with a list, and you're going to start trimming the fat like that way.
Yeah, and just another pro tip is always keep the worst case scenario in mind.
Yes.
Even if you're playing stats, even if you're playing a stats game, being like, oh, this is...
You just Mr. Miyagi to that fruit fly out of the sky.
Thanks.
That's insane.
It's a fruit
pretty
fly.
cool.
It's not that impressive.
Like, and you didn't even like go for it like super fast. You weren't like, like
doesn't
just
work.
You're like, I'm gonna get this fruit
Yeah, because
fly.
you move them.
I got it.
Yeah, if you go super fast, the movement of your hand kind of moves them out of the way.
Oh, he just ate it. Way to go, Renfield.
Yeah. I forgot where I was.
We were talking about worst case Ontario.
Yeah. The Conservatives get the next election. No, the Libertarian Party gets the next election. That's worst case Ontario.
Yeah, but what if I like want to legalize everything and not have any driver's license?
Sure. Run that by me one more time. What did I miss?
You had a plan for the worst case scenario.
You're about to tell us how do we plan for that?
Just think about it in your head. You can crunch the numbers, or you can just...
If I lose my Demon Prince with Warp Time, what do I do?
Exactly. If he doesn't get warp time off.
Yeah.
What do I do? If you have a unit... I've had this in the last... Even when I played Matt Hurd with the Falchion, I fired the Volcano Cannon at one Dreadnought, blew it up, fired 8 las cannons at another Dreadnought, missed with half, and then failed to wound with the other half.
Oof.
So you're like... In that situation, I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, because...
But sometimes you're like, oh man, that was the worst. And this is where I really like the stratagems that I have available to me, because I can fire again, or I can add +1 to wound. So especially with 8th edition, keep those stratagems in mind, because they offset things as well. And that's one thing as well that we should probably throw in to list building
Know your stratagems.
Know your stratagems. Yeah.
God.
The actual data card deck that you can buy for each army, super handy. And again, I think I've said this before on the podcast, being able to be like, trap card! Throw it down on the table.
Absolutely not. We're not doing Yu-Gi-Oh memes on this
It's
podcast.
fun.
You're fired, actually.
It's fun. It's fun. It's definitely fun.
Pack up your stuff. I don't care.
Because there's one Death Guard one.
Security.
He's not even listening.
There's one Death Guard one where it's like, oh, if you charge a Death Guard unit, then they all get to throw grenades at you, not just one.
Hilarious.
Or the Night Lords one is another good example, right? Like, play this when an enemy unit targets a friendly unit in your shooting phase, and they're all -1 to hit. Those sorts of things are huge to keep in mind. You can bait somebody with a powerful unit. They go to blow you away, and you're just like, no.
Yeah.
-1 to hit. So stratagems, again, add a huge depth to this game.
Must be nice. Must be nice to have that.
I have them.
You have that too.
that?
Well, for my Space Marines, not for
Space
my
Marines have
Necrons.
You have them. For
What is
your-
that?
What is
What is it
what?
called?
For your Primaris. You have your Primaris. Yeah.
Oh,
You,
neat.
you have your stratagems.
Read your book.
Yeah.
Number one tip to list.
Yeah,
point,
read your book, Adam. That's tip number 4. So is that list building?
I think so.
Okay.
Not to win, but to
just-
put up a good fight.
Yeah, and that list was not exhaustive. There's other smarter people out there than us out there doing lists, but that's pretty good. Avid hobbyists having fun with lists.
Well, if you look at any of the top lists, you can really and by top list I mean like the things that win LVO, the things that win any of the tournaments that Val took us through. You can see that they were all put together with a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like they all have a vision. Like you keep talking about. Like a vision is important because you work towards that. If you're just doing stuff willy nilly, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yep.
And the opposite of a bad time is
A fun time.
Nick. I think you got something a little special for us. Did you wanna take us through maybe some worst case Ontarios for ourselves?
Yeah, so, well, you're an Imperial Guardsman.
Yes, I am. Thank you for noticing.
So you are on Virgil Rigel 7.
All right.
Isn't that from Star Trek?
You are currently facing some Tau fish people.
Oh no, those squishy-headed blue fin people.
And despite your commissar being a tactical genius, you are now completely surrounded.
Oh no. This has gone very poorly since I've become an Imperial Guard just now.
You scream, "The Emperor protects," and a pulse rifle round goes through your right shoulder.
Oh no.
So you've been shot. Were you wearing body armor?
Yes.
Do we each? Okay, hold
We're
on.
gonna go
How
with
are we gonna do this?
we're gonna go with no.
Okay.
You're now disqualified from treatment due to willful irresponsibility.
Ah,
Report yourself for flogging or bleed out, dependent on what comes first.
report yourself for bleed out.
Yeah, I'm here to die. Yeah, right over there.
So, Adam, you're in the same situation as Paul. You were wearing your body armor.
I'm so much smarter than Paul, clearly.
So, flak armor is nigh impenetrable. Are you sure you are actually wounded?
Is that the next question?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm wounded.
Does gritting your teeth and humming the litany of stoicism help?
No, it didn't help.
Hum it anyways. Miserable caterwauling is pointless and distracting to your fellow guardsmen.
I love the word caterwauling.
So Paul, let's assume you were wearing your flak jacket.
Okay.
Are you sure you're actually wounded?
I'm not.
All right, you're right. How foolish of me. How foolish of you.
Oh.
You should stop wasting the medic's time.
Oh, how
Jerk.
harsh.
If
Somebody else just died because of that.
Yeah. So Adam, try again. Does gritting your teeth and humming the litany of stoicism help?
Always.
Then carry on, guardsman. There's no time to waste. Paul, where were you shot?
I don't know. What are my options to be shot?
Pick one.
Oh, let's say the head.
The head? Congratulations, guardsman. Your resilience is an inspiration to us all.
Thank you, sir.
Adam, where were you shot?
The man parts.
I'm going to go with limbs. So was that an energy blast or a solid projectile?
Ooh.
Oh, we said it was Tau, so it's...
Tau. Well, it could be.
Could be both.
Let's go with the pulse
If
rifle.
it's railgun, then that's a. You would think it's an energy weapon, but it's a solid slug.
Well, I got good
Going
news.
really
I got good news
fast.
for you.
Yeah.
The wound's already cauterized.
Is that an energy weapon?
Yep.
Okay.
So, now let's say I was hit with...
I have a 6-inch hole in my chest.
It's cauterized. You're fine. Okay, Qui-Gon, calm down.
Let's say that I was hit with a matter round.
In your head?
Yeah.
What kind of projectile? A stub auto bullet, a bolt shell, or an Eldari Shuriken, or a Tyranid bioprojectile?
Oh, let's go with a Tyranid bio.
Okay, so first of all, we have to ensure that the projectile is dead. And then we perform first aid.
Oh, neat. And if it were a
But
bolt...
the first part is surprisingly more interesting than just reading that line in itself.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you have to go searching for it.
Yeah.
Like, where is it inside
It's
of his body?
it's still going through your body. That's the point.
what about a bolt round? What happens with a bolt round?
Check that the shell has been detonated. Then perform first aid. The stub or auto bullet is just perform first aid. And if you've been hit by a Eldar Shuriken weapon, they're painful but non-lethal, so suck it up.
Oh man, they have been killing it.
Guardsman,
Yes?
you okay? Has the problem been resolved?
No.
All right. Well, then you need to seek your commanding officer's permission to request first aid.
Okay, I feel great.
Excellent work. Back to the front.
Oh.
So that was great. That was a little fun thing from the Warhammer community for a nice flowchart.
By the regimental standard.
Yeah, that feels like it was just made by Clickhole. I love it. Guys, I think that's been episode 19 of Inches and
It
Cubes.
has been episode 19 of Inches and Cubes. Once again,
We built this listy on rock and roll.
get out. Hogtown AGM, Saturday, September 30th at a bar in the West End.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Someone who wants to take our money.
Yeah, we just really...
Let us know.
That's how I
If
sold
you're a
it to
bar.
Seascape. I was like, can you host like 20 to 30 of us? We're going to have a meeting for 2 hours, and then you're going to have a bunch of really hungry, really thirsty nerds who want to play a bunch of video games. So let us know if it can happen.
Let's just do it at Seascape. It sounds best. Nick, do you wanna have the last words on this one?
Floop and flop.
Good night, everyone. It's just Inches and Cubes. Relax. Wake up, Connor.
Like a monkey in a rocket on his way back home. Okay.